Hey guys, welcome back to the Life Mastery Podcast. I'm here with Dr. Kori Probst. I'm Joe Klemczewski, founder of the Diet Doc, and we are in what I think I can safely call my favorite category, which is fitness entrepreneurship, because it's what we do. I love working with coaches and consultants and helping them be better at what they do, so we can help more people. And Kori Probst, you joined me in Nashville a couple weeks ago when we had a new Diet Doc program owner training. And what I really liked about this one is we had a great group of new owners who have some good business experience, and yet we all just loved sitting around talking shop. And we really ended up focusing on one topic. I think the primary thing we discussed was we as the leaders of our businesses, we in that power position sitting across the table from a client, we have the responsibility to drive communication. We're going to set the standard. We're going to explain the process to them, and then they're going to follow our lead. So I love this topic. I love that we need to take ultimate responsibility for how we communicate with other people. And that's going to make their experience better if we want it to be, or it's going to be kind of sucky if we don't do it well.
No, it's one of my favorite things to do too, Joe, is to have that time with our owners to just collaborate around the best strategies to explore with our clients. And we are in this very influential place when people come to us. And if we don't have the skills to be able to help them facilitate the acquiring new learning and understanding of not just nutrition and their bodies and their minds, but their entire lives, I think we're doing them a disservice. So, as we were going through this training, our new owners were just sharing experiences they've had about times when clients have come to them with information and emotion, a lot of emotion, that they sometimes feel handicapped to address effectively. And I just remember too, in my counselor education training, one of the biggest hangups for a new therapist was they would be so scared about not knowing what to say. What if I don't know what to say? The client says something. What if I don't know? What if I don't know how to respond? And I get it. And so one of the things that we really talked about is sometimes the client doesn't actually need a verbal response. So one of the things for all of you coaches out there who are working intensely with clients is don't necessarily feel obligated to say anything. One of the most profound things that we can often do for the people we're working with is just to give them our presence, to be there with them and to, with our body language, demonstrate to them that we are listening. We're taking in what they are sharing with us. And often they're in a very vulnerable position. If they're revealing something maybe that they've never said before, or saying in a different way, we want to give them the space to be able to express that. So that's one of the first things that we kind of addressed, and that for a coach, I think, takes some of the pressure off. To be the expert and have it all figured out and know exactly what to do and have everything incredibly well crafted. And of course, there's some of that, and that comes with practice. But just to actually be there with that person can often, and this is a counseling sort of phrase, to give them a reparative experience. So they may have been in situations before where they've never actually been able to say anything to someone and not be met with defensiveness or vitriol or anger or just kind of being dismissed.
Can I add something to that, Kori?
Yeah.
So this may be another tangent that you're going to cover, but first of all, not having a verbal expression means that you have some kind of physical locale, you're face to face with them or on a video chat. And And it reminds me, I'm pretty sure this is just because of our social media environment. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like more people are understanding the value of talking on the phone again, or at least being face to face. So I've had 2 meetings already this morning. And one of them, a couple guys who own a big business. They have 2,500 members, and they're in 6 gyms. And they had some questions about our NAMS, National Academy of Metabolic Science certification program. And I said, let's get on the phone, and so right away, within a couple hours, like, we're all 3 on the phone having this conversation. So much more effective communication. And then Tyler Mayer, who you and I joined in the National Academy of Metabolic Science, I went a step further, and because Tyler and I are working so closely with our curriculum and our new students, I love doing video chats, man. I want to see his face. I want to see those expressions. I want to have a chat like we're together, and it's just so much more personal. I think we need to do more with our clients in that lane.
It is. It's really valuable. Now, here's something interesting that I've noticed about myself. I do love being able to see the person, and I do a lot of video related sessions because most of my clients they're somewhere else. They're not local to me. Sometimes the phone is better for me. I can almost hear more and be less kind of distracted with the visual on the phone as opposed to video. And we're just getting at too, and some clients are more comfortable with the phone than they are the video as well. But so that does kind of bring me into the next piece that we discussed, which is, let's ask our clients how they prefer to receive feedback, and how would they prefer to communicate, instead of just assuming because it's best for us that they're going to want that too, or that they should conform to our way of doing things. Instead of doing that, ask, how do you prefer to receive feedback? This is how I typically do things, but I want to facilitate this as best as possible with your preferences in mind as well. The third thing is just that phrasing. I think the words that we use and the language that we use to convey what we need to be careful about. And I don't think coaches take this seriously enough. I am, and probably from experience, I am very cautious about the actual words and how I put them in sentences, because I'm thinking about, how is this going to be perceived by the person that's hearing it? Because we have a tendency to monitor, just as humans in our brains, monitor threats, it's very easy for something to be taken out of context. And this kind of comes back to what you just said, Joe, too, is that happens all the time in email or on social media. And knowing that, we need to be super careful and ask for permission to have that phone call or have the video chat, so we can kind of put ourselves in a position to minimize any misunderstandings.
I mentioned this in our new owner training when you said this, and it's a theme with your communication that I really love, and I'm trying to adopt it more. It is asking that permission, asking, how they would want something, because so many assumptions are made, and I think that just builds so much trust. It's not just checking off a box like, oh, they want to be communicated, blah blah blah. Right. It's really you asking them brings down walls of apprehension and just allows them to understand that you really care about how you are building this experience for them.
Exactly. And if we go back to what you and I have talked about a million times, the 3 basic psychological needs, what you're doing is you're building on their sense of autonomy. So their sense of volition. It also shows a level of respect. And, we want them to feel like they have some agency in this. It's not, you said the word power earlier in this podcast, and oftentimes that's misconstrued as like a one-up position. In coaching, it needs to be like this. And oftentimes like this, where the client it's this interesting volley and balance between influence. We need as coaches to be able to be influenced and to open up to be influenced by our clients and to learn from them. But the permission piece is really important, and not just in like, how do you prefer to receive feedback, but when you notice as the coach or clinician that your client is kind of spiraling downward or into some very negative behavior, for you to be able to say, okay, may I stop you for a second and share with you what I'm hearing or seeing? That's permission. May I? You're not saying, okay, stop. And this was interesting because at the owner training, one of the people that we were working with had said, when I'm in a situation with one of my employees and they do something that's not great, my strategy is to say, stop, we don't do that here. And I chuckled because I'm like, if someone said that to me, I would immediately bristle and get rigid and be like, fingers coming up, I wouldn't do that in person, but that's what I would feel like doing.
I think you've done that to me. I think we've been there.
I don't know about that. No. You probably heard it in my voice and saw daggers coming out of my eyes though. So yeah, in a situation like that, it's like, we don't meet fire with fire. That just builds a bigger freaking fire. So we do have to find a way to kind of diffuse a little bit, ask for permission, and get to a place of, no, I want to understand you. And I want to help you understand what you may not be seeing right now. That's the other piece of this too, is we want to coach toward capacity and skillfulness and ability, as opposed to all the time focusing on outcome. Because the client's typically already there. That's what they're keyed in on all the time. The number, the weight, how much time I have. But they're never going to get there unless we have the ability to guide them towards the skills they're learning as they're progressing. So go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that reminds me of just how sometimes in the coaching world, everybody has their way of doing things. They have their system, quote unquote, and they forget that the client's experience is most important, that we need to be teaching toward that. So I know that we are just releasing our Life Matters 2. We recorded it, posted it, and didn't release it to the public yet, but our Life Matters, which is where you and I sit down for an entire hour and talk about a pretty deep issue, was on structured flexibility or flexible dieting. And I know even in our company, we've had to remind our coaches, our program owners once in a while that, hey, there's not just one way of doing things. We need to meet our clients where they are and then lead them one step at a time. Even if it takes them 10 steps, 10 days, 10 weeks to get to a point where you want to start, that's okay. That's where they are and that's what they need.
Exactly. That is called skill scaffolding. Yeah. If you have a client, and this is rare now, but you'll run into clients who they don't know what macronutrients are. They don't know where protein comes from. So if you give them a meal plan or you give them macronutrient ranges and you tell them to meet those on a daily basis, you are setting them up for failure and for losing confidence, not only in themselves, but in you as a coach. And you're not starting where they are. So that's another piece of it. You have to become really, really skilled at doing the work up front and interviewing them in a way that allows you to obtain the necessary information. And of course, this is ongoing. This doesn't end, after you give them an initial recommendation. But that interviewing to understand where they are, where they've come from, what's motivating them, and all those things is crucial.
And this is a little bit of an unfair fight because you are a psychologist. So as a way of kind of summarizing, I know in a topic like this, I hope people out there are jotting down a few notes. But if you had a way of saying, okay, in terms of communicating, you're a coach, you're a fitness entrepreneur, here's what you need to know about communication. How would you list those in kind of a hierarchy?
Focus on the strengths of your clients. Provide direct, candid, and kind feedback. Don't be the coach that says, "Good job, you did great this week." And I roll my eyes because while you may get that dopamine hit, your client will. It doesn't give them anything to move on. So you want to tell them specifically what you saw, what they did well, because this is going to help them increase their level of awareness. Help them develop awareness by putting yourselves as a unit and as a team in a position to review their behavior. You review your own behavior, and then the two of you review the team behavior. How are we communicating? How is this working for us right now? Could we change anything to work better together? Coach towards capacity as opposed to always looking and coaching towards the outcome. Because remember, they're going to meet their goal and they have their entire lives in front of them. So hopefully when the process ends, they have new skills that they can carry into their lives. Ask your clients how they prefer to receive feedback. Ask for permission before you share anything that has the potential to be perceived as negative. Those I think would be the top, what was that, 5, Joe? 5
I'm not
things.
sure.
Yeah.
It's good. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. If you want to work on communication skills, which I think is probably the foremost thing that we all need, especially in today's environment as coaches, just that word, Kori, coach. I talk about this a lot in our advanced tier of the National Academy of Metabolic Sciences. Coaching means coaching. That means communicating. It means teaching. And that takes some really serious communication skills.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Joe, for letting me outline these things. And if you guys want any more information on this topic, just know that anyone who becomes an owner within our company is getting a significant amount of training in this area. And it's really fun for us to do.
Absolutely. So guys, thank you very much. We will catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.